Hello, everybody. Hello, ladies, gentlemen, other Shassos, Shazla, my Gwaylard that be hanging out from time to time. Forgive me, I've just noticed that I have incredible bed hair from, I guess it's shower hair from being all so fresh and so clean. But we're here today because I teased it a little bit in the post that I put out on YouTube. Because of one of my incredible team members and a very, very good friend of mine, Chris O'Neill, I have this bad boy. Now, I've magnetized the arms, though I found out I need some more magnets because these boys heavy, like it just falls straight off. But we have this on the run. And I thought, given that throughout the current season, I hit top 3 in Australia and top 25 in the world for Tau playing meme lists. I've taken a serious list to a GT once in this entire goddamn year. Now, part of that is being a content creator. Part of it is because it was fun and I got a chance to run double Storm Surge. When you have a chance to double Storm Surge, you double the Storm Surge. So I figured, why not round out the year? Why not round out this ITC season with an 80-player event running a town? Now, obviously, I've got the biggest part of it already sitting in the list, 790 points for the town. Let's go over and let's have a look at what I am talking about and what this will bring to the table and what we will have to build around. And it'll give you guys a little bit of an insight as to how higher ranked players look at building their lists, how they make choices with what they're taking and some of the stuff that they consider when they're doing their thing. Now, there is a lot of information on screen. Let's start with the big stuff first. T13, 2 up, 5 up, 30 wounds with an OC of 10. This boy is not going to be easy to take down. It is not going to be easy to take down. And I noticed in my double Storm Surge list, any decent players ignored the surges altogether and tried to go after my scoring, which is very, very smart. It's the only reason that I actually lost a game on that list to a very good friend of mine, Feud, who actually asserted afterwards that if I had any reps on that list in the lead up, because it was a very new pickup that I decided to do, that he doesn't think he wins that game almost every single time, Death Guard having a bit of a rough time into the sort of list that I was drafting into. Now, when we look at his abilities, when he's guided, he gets rerolls of a hit roll of 1, and you'll notice that a lot of his stuff that we're going to be firing, heavy rail cannon, actually not too much of his stuff actually, nothing else has heavy, which is really surprising to me that they wouldn't go hard on the heavy keyword. But at the very least, rerolling 1s to hit means that we could look at some different guiding units. It also means that later in the game, if the Tetras get popped, because I'll probably still take Tetras in this list. We'll see when we get there. Good evening, Darkwing Collections. Good to see you. But it means that he's still going to have a good source of at least some rerolls. And then super heavy, this is what you see from every other Titanic. Models and terrain features 4 inches or less in height. He can walk over them as if they're not there. Means that we don't have to worry about a parking lot. Then we've also got to consider when he's on his last bracket of 1 to 10 wounds, he loses 5 from his OC and subtract 1 from the hit roll. So, the next thing that we're going to look at is what he actually comes with, because this is very, very important for us to know what his output is going to be and what potentially we need to shore up around him to make sure that we've got a good game plan. So, Taunar Supremacy Armor comes with 4 burst cannons, a Fusion Eradicator, which is one of its arm guns, 3 Pulse Ordnance Drivers, which are these 3 that sit on top. The Tuner, Masu, it is indeed the Tuner. It is time. It is time for me to play yet another meme list and probably win and probably take back my rank 1 in Australia. But anyway, 3 Pulse Ordnance Drivers, 4 Smart Missile Systems, a Tri-Axis Ion Cannon, which is these arm bad boys that I'm magnetizing, and Crushing Feet. Gotta have dem feats. Now, You can replace a tri-axis cannon with an Eradicator or vice versa, an Eradicator with a tri-axis cannon. What this allows you to do is have both of the same type of gun on both of his arms, or you can leave it as is and just have one and one. The 3 pulse ordnance drivers can be replaced with one of the following: 2 Nexus missile launchers or a heavy rail cannon array and a fragmentation cluster shell launcher. Now, I'm going to be opting, and shout out in chat if you think this is a mistake. Shout out in chat if you think that I'm going down the wrong way here, but I do have reasoning. Let's go through the weapons that I'm going to be picking. I'm interested to see how you will build around this. I reckon it's going to be really fun. And I'm going to be taking input from chat. I'm also going to be quizzing you guys a little bit because I want to see how my chassos are doing with learning how to build lists that win GTs or majors or whatever else. If you've got something that you desperately want to shout out, make sure that you look at things like super chatting and donations are a great way to get your voice heard quickly. Give me extra support with trying to do the things that I'm doing and continue to build up the studio. And actually, this is a pretty monumental stream. This will be the last stream on my old-ass PC. Between the massive donation we had on stream a couple of nights ago, actually before the event that I went to, and then just obviously my patrons and everything else, YouTube ad revenue actually starting to get somewhere. And then on top of that, a few things that happened that I'll be announcing soon. This is our last stream on the old PC. We will actually be able to properly stream games now with more than like 5 frames. I'll be able to do multiple things and not have my workflow completely gutted. So first and foremost, thank you so much to all of my patrons and my YouTube members who make all of my videos possible. Quite fucking literally make all of them possible because my PC was dying. And a massive shout out to 4. You may have noticed there was a little Easter egg sitting in the thumbnail, and he's got his name sitting just down here. 4. No, you know what? I'll announce it. I'll announce it as part of the video, but they facilitated something. So let's talk about the weapons. How much is the points on this? 790. After the nerfs that we took when Knights were rampantly running around, and GW said, well, let's just fuck every super heavy because why wouldn't we? Because we're GW. So 790 is our starting point. We have 1,200 points thereafter to work with everything else that we need. So he comes with a Fusion Eradicator on one arm, and he comes with a tri-axis cannon on the other. Now, let's have a look at those two. Fusion Eradicator, Melter 3, 24 inches, so they have to be within 12 to be getting your Melter. 5 attacks, hitting on 4s natively, Strength 10, AP 4, D6 damage. Or the tri-axis cannon, which has 2, as we would expect from something Ion, a standard and a supercharge. Both have blast. The supercharge has hazardous. 36-inch, D6 plus 3, Strength 8 or 9, AP2 or AP3, damage 2 or damage 3. Now, I'm not going to be taking a Fusion Eradicator. 24 inches on something this big? No, I want the 36. I want the 36 inches and D6, 2D6 plus 6 shots at Strength 9, AP3, damage 3, because there is no world where I'm not going to be overcharging this gun. That is just way too good. Way too good. And then throw blast on top of that. Somebody wants to throw chosen spam at me? Alright, cool, man. Let's do it. And even if I look at this into like vehicles, this is still like volume sort of around an equivalent amount of crisis suits. Obviously, you can get like 2 units of crisis suits in of 6-mans for the price of a Taunar. But this isn't his only gun. And this is very, very versatile. Now, one of the things that I'm going to be building around, and this was my big feedback from the double Storm Surge list, our super heavies really, really, really suffer from the split fire penalty. Please, for the love of God, GW, I am 2 for 2 on telling you what changes to make. You implemented them, everybody loved it, and you didn't look like idiots anymore. I'm throwing you a freebie third, okay? You don't even have to pay me. Take away the split fire penalty, super heavies become much, much more palatable. Please, for the love of fuck, take away the split fire penalty. The reason I say that is because if you look at, let's go with what I'm going to be having as his main gun, which is a heavy rail cannon array, which comes with a fragmentation shell cluster launcher. Look at these two different profiles. 2 shots, strength 26, AP 5, 16 damage, potentially 32 damage on both shots going through. Then you've got the other part of it, which is 2d6 plus 6, strength 6, AP 1, damage 1. They are not meant to be fired at the same target. Then you've got 4 burst cannons for 16 shots. You've got, 3 smart missile systems? No, 4. 4 SMS for 12 shots of indirect fire at strength nothing, AP nothing, damage 1. And then you've got this, which kind of sits in the middle. This thing only does well. It does its job and it's worth its points when it can happily split fire, doing its anti-tank, and then throwing stuff elsewhere on the board. This is supposed to be an intimidating, terrifying battlesuit sitting on the field that people don't want to give it too many targets. But if it's hitting on friggin' 5s with no rerolls or anything else, then I don't know. The only upshot is that this says while it's a guided unit. Guided, similar to when we get our explodes, is actually before you allocate any targets or shots or whatever else. So you will still get this reroll hit rolls of a 1 on all of your split fire stuff because you are still a guided unit. You're just not targeting your spotted unit. So that's an upshot. But the split fire penalty really, really still irks me. So that is something that we are going to have to build around. And I feel like the tri-axis cannon, with the sheer volume that it's throwing, even if that's on 5s, you're still going to get some hits. If you're getting explodes or double explodes, you're going to get even more hits because, basically half of everything you hit is going to explode. So I'm going to be going with double tri-axis cannon, a heavy rail cannon array, and the fragmentation cluster shell launcher, meaning that I can just lift a vehicle basically every single turn. Even a dread, I think, goes down to even one of these things going through. And then the fragmentation cluster shell launcher is just really good for picking up little things. Blast. The out of line of sight, this is one of the things I get asked every single game. 12 shots. If I'm versing like Eldar or whatever, they can't hide behind walls. This thing will just pick them up. That's actually not that bad. I like big guns and I cannot lie. Absolutely, Kyle. Welcome to the chat, my man. I've been through the desert on a Towner Supreme. That is excellent. Coordinate to engage, I will look at, but the reason why I am disinclined to want to build around that as a thing is, one, I have an idea of what else I'm going to be putting in the army, and I'll sort of go through that when we get to that part of it, when we start building the list proper. The other part of it is that this guy doesn't have Marker-Light, and he needs to be ignoring cover. There is a lot of his guns that are AP1 or AP nothing. I don't want things to improve to a 3 or flat out just ignore that -1. The difference that it can make is huge. And I've got a better idea for who I'll want guiding them for most of the game, but we'll get to that in a second. Coordinated strike is really unfortunate with coordinate to engage. Coordinate to engage might still be worth it if you're splitting fire a lot. Potentially. But like I said, Marker-Light. Marker-Light. Okay, so Darkwing's already weighing in. I would go 2 Sky Rays, 1 Breacher team with Devilfish and Fireblade, 3-man suit, Cold Star, 4 Piranhas, and 2 Tetras. Now, you know what? I'll hold my. If anybody else wants to throw out their predictions for what this should be, throw them in chat now. And then we'll go through, and when I start laying out my plans and where I was going to go with it, give you guys a chance to see how close you were, or if I end up taking any of your suggestions in mind. Not that I don't love railguns. Why are you taking the rail cannon over the pulse driver? Not that I don't love railguns. Well, pulse driver, you get 8 shots per, and you can take 3 of them. So that ends up being, 24 shots? Which is pretty good. The problem that I have is that it's strength 5, AP 1, damage 3. I don't want a world where people are, like, say, Custodes are saving on 3-ups, even with that amount of volume of shots. I don't want Dreads to be potentially ignoring that with, like, Armor of Contempt. And strength 5 means that there's a lot of things that you want to shoot the main gun into that just won't do it on. It's the same reason why I looked at the Nexus missile launcher and I was like, that would be nice. Don't get me wrong. But I feel like there is something better. And this gives me an immediate delete button on any vehicle that dares to show its face at 120 inches. Because the Nexus missile launcher is also 36. And then it means that all of my other guns can take care of that anti-infantry, anti-heavy infantry, Terminator sort of role. So this is something uniquely that doesn't exist on any other profile aside from the 24-inch Fusion Eradicator. I want to have this model, even just with the 2 rail cannon shots, make my opponent piss themselves about walking out from that. Because this is the other side of it. Let's talk about what this little mother right here does to your opponent. Let's talk about the psychological impact. Worst players are going to focus this. They're going to put all of their fire into it, and it's going to live. It's T13 with a 2-up save, a 5-up invulnerable, and 30 wounds. This is not 9th anymore. This can get benefit of cover. So, if I'm playing well, and let's face it, I will be, he is going to be functionally on a 1-up save all the time. Now, if they choose to ignore him, I want my heavy rail cannon to punish them at every single opportunity. I want to make sure that if I'm firing a shot, there is a good chance that 16 damage lifts almost any vehicle in the game. I want Knights players to walk up to me and go, I hate you that you're here. I hate that you built this list and I kind of want to punch you a little bit. That's the world that I want to live in with the Taunar, and that is something you cannot not consider, is the psychological impact that a big model like this has on people. So, 5 Breach of Fish plus Taunar. Oh, interesting. Sleeping Pill coming in with the full Fish of Fury. Strength 26 is such a powerhouse. Yes, it is. Goodbye, Ironstorm Marines. Also, yes. I love that world. Just curious the reasoning. Yeah, well, that is the purpose of this stream, honestly. This is something that I could just sit and build and take to an event and do a video about it afterwards and whatever. But I thought this might actually be more engaging for you guys to be able to get inside the head and go through the process that players at my level sort of do when they're looking at building lists, not net listing somebody else. Actually building your own list and having reasonings as to why and a game plan. Not in the same way that you have on, like, you know, you see on like Reddit or like the Facebook groups or whatever, where someone's like, oh, and then my guy's going to do this and going to do this, and they're going to be on this part of the board, and they're going to do this, and then my opponent's going to shit himself, and he's going to have a heart attack, and I'm going to win the tournament just because he's not there anymore. That's the voice when I'm reading some of these people that plays in my head. We're going to do this with a plan, but also reasoning for, if opponent does this, I have X thing to solve that problem. If my opponent does Y, I have Z, which works well. I have this, which makes my opponent think this. So that is the process we're going to go through. All right, Tiny Traveler, Shadow Sun, 1 Ethereal, 2 Ghost Kills, 3 Riptides, 2 units of Tetras. The Diet Coke of Knights list. I don't hate that joke. That's really good. Oh, okay. All right, so we are going to be going the Heavy Rail Cannon Array, Fragmentation Cluster Shell Launcher, Double Triaxis Cannon, because 2d6 plus 6, Strength 9, AP3, Damage 3 shots sounds so amazing at 36 inches. If the Fusion Eradicator was a bit longer range, I would actually love to take this. Like, if you got 2 of them, 10 shots, 10 Strength 10, AP4, D6 damage shots, oh, that fucks hard. But yeah, so then, and then obviously we can't change out the burst cannons and the smart missile systems. And the crushing feet, who would want to change those out? That's everybody's sexual fantasy, right? Right? Guys? Why'd everybody stop typing? Anyway, so that is our tuner. That is what we're working with on that. Now, the next thing that I want to look at is our little spreadsheet. So we are taking this to the Dice Arcade GT in 2024. It will be the first major event that we are able to get ourselves to. So what we're going to do is just punch in, first and foremost. Now, did anybody else know that the apostrophe on Towner actually goes in between the A and the U? Because I didn't. I had to look it up. It's in the GW app. He is going to be 790 points, bringing our total now to 790. So that gives us a fair amount to work with. Now, chuck in chat right now what you think the next most important part of this list is. What you think is going to be the immediate thing that has to go in, regardless of any other units. Get it in right now. It should hover and not have crushing feet. How dare you? How dare you? This is a feet-loving apostasy here, sir. I would ask kindly that you leave. Hovering with no feet. Ugh. Jiminy Jillikers. I can't believe people like this still exist in 2023. Ugh. All right, we got Ace coming in with Fisher Fury. Ethereal, CP generation when picking fixed objectives is vital, IMO. Piranhas from Darkwing. All right, I'll give you a couple more seconds if anybody else wants to get your guess in. And we'll close it in 3, 2, 1. Both Bilno and Ace are correct. You need Fisher Fury. Now, why is that? Let me open up our index. And let's full screen this. Let's go to why. Because, does anybody remember I was talking a couple of streams ago about it changes depending on who you're talking to and depending on the army. But the triangle / square / hexagon / pentagon / whatever of winning games and building lists. We have our damage. We have more than enough damage. Now the thing that we need is to guarantee our scoring. Now, unfortunately, Tiny Traveler, there are a tiny, tiny number of instances. I haven't done it yet in 10th, taken fixed. And the reason is that, and I've said this in a lot of other videos and streams, I do not like a world where my opponent has deterministic control over how I score them. Now, this becomes even more important because instead of having zippy 6-man crisis suits and whatever, this guy's sitting at the back of the board. If I take something where I have to get to behind a wall to be able to kill that thing and the other units in my army can't do it, I am screwed. That means that Assassinate is very much a bait pick. With 790 points invested in my army, I'm not going to be going for things like deploy teleport Homer or behind enemy lines because I will be working at a greater deficit than the armies that do that better. What I'm going to look at doing is playing the drawn secondary game, the tactical secondaries exceedingly well. And that's where Breacher Fish is the best place to go. I love the call out for Piranhas, and we might look at those in a little bit. But Breacher Fish, point for point, are going to be the most efficient unit that we can put on there. And it's not even about the breaches. Breaches are great. We're going to dump 20 OC onto a point when they get out. But it's not even about them. The thinking is going to be that if I'm going to have this great scoring unit, and let's face it, they've got some great damage into chaff. We're going to rail cannon overhead, which is doing the greater good god's work, the Talvar. It's the Devilfish, actually. The Devilfish is a T9 body, 3-up save, 13 wounds. If you've got a T13 30 wound body sitting on the field, and then you've got a bunch of other Devilfish zipping around doing their thing, you can potentially cause forced mistakes from your opponent by overloading their brain and not letting them know exactly what to do. If they have to peel open a Devilfish to get to the juicy breaches inside, and they know, okay, if I kill this, the breaches get out on the point, and then I've allocated all my shooting, so I won't be able to do anything with them. If I fail to kill it, then the breaches just get out next turn, take the point, and then I'm done anyway. And then all the way over the back of the field is this big-ass model that's going to pick up anything I put in the open. What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? Now, top 10 table players, not going to have a problem with that. They will start allocating very, very well into that. But having a bunch of tough bodies that are hard to shift, hard to move, and carrying seeker missiles, no less, is a very, very good way to go. So, Piranha helps block and redirect. Yes, it does. And we will get there. Don't you worry. I am actually going to look at, because I have the capability at the moment of putting 4 Devilfish, and I have the means to be able to get a 3rd and a 4th Cadre Fireblade. And I don't think I want to take my breaches without a Cadre Fireblade, because we are also going to be playing in a world where the new AdMech and the new Necrons book is out. So, having a look at some of their tricks and some of their units that they might go to, we've got vehicles and that sort of stuff covered. 30 shots and then gun drones and whatever else is going to be incredibly nice having the Fireblade in there. So, all up. And I'm going to go into my beautiful little app because it'll tell me what my points are before I need to do anything in here. Will be 50 for the Cadre Fireblades. Sorry, 40 points. I thought they were 50. That's even better. So, drop that down. And we go Cadre Fireblade times 4. That puts us at 160 points. 40 each. Now, I probably will end up taking enhancements because we have 2 really good enhancements to look at here. 2 very, very good enhancements. The first one is the one we've been taking on everybody, and that is Exemplar of the Kaoyun. Exemplar of the Kaoyun gives 1 unit a terrifying punch as soon as they pop out of their Devilfish on turn 2. And then if you've got follow-up units turn 3, if the game's not over at that point, then you've got everybody getting out with explodes. So, enhancements, Exemplar of the Kaoyun for a steal at 15 points. Then what we're going to look at is something that I have not taken a ton yet, but I'm actually going to consider for this depending on if we've got the points. And bear in mind, we may get to the end of this and we've got to start cutting stuff back and looking at pieces. And this is another thing, you don't always get the list right the first time around. You've got to look at it as its parts and then the sum of, and then work out what the best things are with the plan that you formulate. We're going to look at the PureTide Engram Neurochip. Now, as I've been named by one of my team members, I am now Commander Mantide. And so it's kind of, it sucks that PureTide got there first. I'd love this to be named after me. Actually, you know what? We're going to do that. We're going to do that because fuck PureTide. The Mantide Engram Neurochip. We are going to pay a steep 25 points for it, but I think it's worth it. So, with the Mantide Engram Neurochip, we have access to 2 really, really awesome things. And let's bring up our index to show you. The first one is Combat Embarkation. If I've got multiple Devilfish dumping their guys out, because remember, we're not paying a CP to combat debark anymore after Devilfish move or advance, because we're just allowed to do that because of the Devilfish's datasheet ability. However, if we've got multiple guys hanging out, you can get a unit back in with the charge, and then Mantide Neurochip another unit back into their Devilfish. Now, yes, it does cost 2 CP, but if we're not burning it on 2 CP of Strike and Fade, I actually find it much, much easier to bank CP than almost anywhere else. And if I'm playing cagey enough with the Towner and I'm playing it properly, abusing the line of sight that you get from the new Titanic changes, I may stim injector him, but if I'm playing him well, I won't really need to. So what else am I spending it on? Probably not much, honestly. So, photon grenades might be another thing that if they're doing multiple charges, you want to do this and cause a battle shock and sub 2 to the charge roll instead because you want to hold the point, but you've got options there. The other one is, let's bring up the 10th Ed core rules. And let's go control find, and we are going to go for one of the best stratagems that I keep forgetting. Grenades. Let's go over here. Because Fire Warriors are a grenades unit, they're eligible to shoot, doesn't make them not eligible to shoot for using it, and we can use it in melee range because we have pistols, so we're still eligible to shoot. One enemy unit, not within engagement range of any units from your army, so we can throw it out of combat, just not to the guys that we're in. And visible to your grenades unit rolls 6d6 for each 4-up suffer a mortal wound. And obviously that's a cap of 6 mortal wounds because whatever. If you I would spend 2 CP for 2d6 4-up mortal wounds. That is such a good extra damage thing, especially if you're throwing your breaches into something that they're not normally designed to kill. Like, for example, Josh, when I was playing him at the Teams event on Tyranids, the Maliceptors were so hard to kill. Frigging so hard to kill. He did spike a few saves, but that's going to happen. But if I was using the grenade strat, if I didn't have crisis suits that I needed to fire and fade because of his DAC effects, can't effects with guns, you get it, DACA, then this would have been amazing. So what we have within them is a package of damage, mobility, and we've got some CP tricks to getting 2 really, really powerful stratagems. And a third that's nice, but you may not always use it all the time. So, getting back to our chat. 1 Town 2 Storm Surges. Okay. I unfortunately don't have 2 Storm Surges anymore. Chris had to take his back to the Northern Territory, so Mrs. Reptar is currently no longer with Reptar. Now we get into the position where do I consider taking a Storm Surge as well? Hang on. I'm going to get Reptar. I'm going to see what he says. I don't want to take him with a Taunar without his consent. Just 2 seconds. Just 2 seconds. All right. Oh boy, what's this? Reptar came back and he had these beautiful for the greater good tracking tokens. Oh my goodness, how did those get there? And for anybody who might want a set of tokens to be able to track during your shooting phase, unfortunately, Shopify is being a little bit weird. On the website, there are internationals that are saying that there's no shipping options for them. Shopify is looking into it. For now, if you would like to get access to a set of tokens or 5, there is an email down in the description, or you can email me from the website, pendantstudios.com.au. Everything is in the description of the YouTube video. Twitch fans, I'll see if I can get something for you. I'll post it in there. We are taking email orders for them. They are $10 Australian for a set. Postage within Australia is a flat 10. Postage international is a flat 20. So if you would like to get access to yours, flick an email through to us and we'll get you sorted out. So we have Reptar here. Oh my God, because of the green screen, he looks like, oh my God, this is what Reptar would look white. That actually kind of fucks. Holy shit. I'll take it down so you guys can actually see him properly for a little bit. Where's my camera? All right, let's take off the filter. That's not the one I wanted. Filters, edit, and let's just get rid of the chroma key. There we go. There he is. There he is. All right. Oh, and somebody has accurately pointed out in chat, I cannot run for Cult Fireblades, which is fine. So we would be going Cult Fireblade times 3. My brain got ahead of me because obviously we've got, can't have that on characters. So it'll be 120 points, which actually makes it a little bit better. I would probably still run, maybe it'll be triple Fisher Fury, maybe it'll be quad, I don't know, but we'll have a look at that. I second the suggestion to run 2 Storm Surges plus a Taunar. If you're going for the meme list, go all the way, big stompy mechs. So the issue that I have is getting access to the second Storm Surge because I'm not a man of infinite means. You might even say I'm a man of not many means whatsoever. So we'll see. But if I add in the Storm Surge, oh boy, this devolved so quickly. How did I not see people asking for this? So he's a flat 400. So if I look at Reptar, 400 points. That brings us to 1350. Let's look at putting in my breaches. So breacher teams are 90 each. Let's go times 3. Let's go times 3. I think that's probably a good number. So we got 270 points. And then we've got our D-Fish, which, if I remember correctly, are like 110? Holy shit, they're 75 points each. I forgot about the points changes. Oh, that's so good. All right, so then that puts us at what, 225? Holy. This is what happens when you do too much stuff in the app. Your brain actually starts to forget key things. Darkwing and I would put an Ethereal. We'll have a look at that. We'll have a look at that because we might need to if we're playing into the Mantide Engram Neuro chip, but we will see. So at the very least, we've got our D-Fish times 3. And that puts us at 1845. So what you'll notice is that we have a distinct lack of guiding units. I hate to do it. But even I will not be able to win a game with both the Storm Surge and the Towner. I don't think it's possible. I would have to drop too much stuff in order to do it. So unfortunately, my boy, my homie, my only one, see-through Reptar, will have to not take the field this day. I will look at doing it in a list. But for an 80-person GT, I also don't just want to go last because I can't hold objectives. Okay, so let's, and I don't know Excel well enough how to move them up. So let's just delete row. There we go. So then what we look at after this. So we've got the Towner, which is our damage. Ripperino, go Skyrays. Well, let's spamming Skyrays. We still haven't filled out the most important part because Skyrays fall into the damage bucket. And at the moment, our damage bucket is relatively full. Our scoring bucket is, I would say, about 75% full. We don't have at the moment good trading pieces, and we don't have good throwaway scoring pieces. Now, when I say throwaway scoring, breaches you don't really want to throw away. We're going to be going the Guardian Drone on them for -1 to wound. I will play with them as the resource that they are. What we need is our first point of contact. Now, anybody who knows me knows what I'm going to here, and this was actually called out somewhere in the chat where there was somebody who was asking for this, and it was their first guess, which I love where your head's at, but it had to be the Breacher Fish first. We're going to look at some Piranhas. Because Piranhas, for 55 points, a model, bring a lot to the table. Now, I am going to look at... Let's go for the 3 of them. Let's go for the 3. So we are looking at 165 points for the whole thing. With the fusions, with the double seekers, these are our first point of contact. Plugging in an Ethereal feels like absolutely the correct call since the Tuner will want to split fire just like a Storm Surge will. That probably means constantly using Coordinate to engage. Okay, so while your logic isn't terrible, there are 2 flaws in what you're doing right now. The first is the timing. The Ethereal is the last thing we plug in. He is not a necessary thing. He is additive. He is a force multiplier. We need to know that we have the 50 points lying around so the rest of our game plan can be filled in. The second part of it is that the Towner is actually one of the worst units to coordinate to engage. Now, if I'm splitting fire, and this is absolutely something that I might do, he's hurt by not having Marker Light and how big benefits of cover are in the current edition. People can get benefits of cover for almost any goddamn reason, including just not being able to draw to every part of their base without crossing some form of terrain or whatever else. So ignoring cover, especially in a world where we might have like very, very tanky things. I know there's a few good Custodes player, and even though they're terrible now, we might see a data slate in between now and when I actually run this list. As well as that, Terminators, Space Marines have a ton of really, really good builds with Dreadnoughts and that sort of thing. there are some terrifying things that I want to push to an invuln or make sure that I am hurting their armor save as much as possible. So, Ethereal, I don't disagree, but I believe that this is the wrong stage of the list building process to be considering, or as zealously as you guys are going for the Ethereal. So you're not wrong per se, but just remember it has to be done at the right stage of the list building process to force multiply the necessary parts of your list. So, what do you think, not now in general, about 9 Piranhas? Actually have a patron of mine that has been getting coaching sessions from me, getting ready for Perth Masters. He's running a 9 Piranha list, and I actually really, really love the idea of it. Piranhas are so annoying. They are so tough. 3 Melta 4 guns, 6 Seeker missiles per unit, and each unit is 165 points. Do that times 3, it's not even a quarter of your army. It is, the only reason, literally the only reason I haven't done it is because I don't own 9 Piranhas. I only own 3. So I would love to do it. It'd have to shake up my GT list a little bit. It'd be a little bit more on the meme side because I think that GT list might actually be the perfect list based on how strong it felt during that teams event, my practice games and whatever. But yeah, so 9 Piranhas, love them. Absolutely love them. Interesting, great feedback. You're welcome. And obviously to anybody, don't feel dejected if I try and point out any of that sort of like critical thinking or whatever else. It is in the pursuit of all of us getting better, not to put anybody down or whatever else. And bear in mind, as I say, with all of my videos, all of my streams, all of this is aiming at being able to be the highest tier competitive list and player that we can be. Even though I'm doing a meme, I am taking it to an 80-person event. And if I can get to some of the top tables with this, it becomes even more fucking funny. And a feather in my cap because I've been able to do it with a model that, So, one team, one dream for the greater good. Hell yeah, brother. All right, so the 3 Piranhas, in my mind, are our next necessary step. I love pairing them with Breacher Fish. Reason being is that your Piranhas are your first point of contact. They move insanely fast. You can charge them into people. You can disrupt so much of your opponent's plan out of nowhere. And they're very safe. You can deploy them on the line and then measure 9 inches for their scout move and then just move them into safety. If you don't end up going first, there's a bunch of scary guns sitting on the other side of the field. So Piranhas, in my mind, are a necessary inclusion. I will keep those. Now, the next thing I want to look at are stealth suits. Stealth suits with their reroll 1s to wound are basically the only thing that the Taunar needs. Because that means we've got reroll hit roll 1, we've got reroll wound roll of 1. I think that is fantastic. If anybody cares to throw out an alternating opinion, happy to look at it. But when I look at our beautiful little stealth boys, we're paying 60 points for a unit. I am considering putting in at least 1, maybe 2 units of them. Now, the other side of the stealth suits is that they are infiltrators, and they can also forward deploy. Not forward deploy. They can do very, very cheap objectives. They're stealth. You can chuck a shield drone as well as a marker drone onto the Chassis, so they gain the marker-like keyword, and you can do things like live where they shouldn't because they are actually surprisingly surprisingly hard to kill if people don't allocate the correct amount of shooting or melee or whatever else. You can put fallback and shoot onto the main guy, so even if the other 2 guys aren't shooting, the more important thing is you fall back over somebody's head with jetpack and fly and do actions inside their deployment zone or wherever you need to. And for 60 points, they're a great throwaway unit to stand on a point when you don't want to expose something a little bit more expensive. So at the very least, I would be keen to see what everybody thinks here, and we'll look at the points, but I'm going to start at 1 unit for 60 points. Because there is another unit that I really want to throw in, which loves its stealth. Tiny Traveler, I've had so many moments where the rail cannon hit and I rolled a damn 1 on a strength 24 gun. I was so pissed. Stealth suits are the best and likely only call you want to guide the Taunar. They are fantastic, especially when you're shooting at something that must die. Like, you shouldn't roll a 1 a lot of the time, but we are going to. We are absolutely going to. And anybody who's played a game against me knows that I don't win because of dice. I win because of good choices made. So I feel like getting good choices in right now with a stealth suit maybe even 2. We'll see where we end up with everything else we're sort of piecing together. But yeah, stealth suits are amazing for doing that. Now, I want to look at what it would cost me to plug in my favorite scoring and annoyance unit in the game. And not only that, but I want to do 2 of them. Now, they are 160 points each. I don't know if I'm going to have the points to be able to do this because that is going to push us to 320. That will take us to 1990. So, the big issue I see with what we've got at the moment is 1, a lack of backfield objective holding. If I need the Taunar to move up to touch a central ruin so he can see through it and then shoot everything on the other side, this is problematic because at the moment he is my only happy to leave at the backfield and hold that backfield objective. The other side of it is that I just feel like we don't have enough units on the field. And I think potentially I'm going to drop 1 unit of Breaches and Defish and a Fireblade. What do y'all think? Is the last piece of the puzzle a Tidewall Trode board? After all, consider an objective, cover it completely. That is true. That is true. Unfortunately, the terrain at Dice Arcade is probably not going to be super conducive to doing that. They tend to have stuff which doesn't interact with the tide walls. Love where your head's at. Love where your head's at. Unfortunately, we probably won't be able to. Which actually reminds me, because I've had a ton of things going on getting ready for this, I had an incredible donation happen when I was off friggin' stream, where, let me bring it up. I'm going into it. I had somebody who asked me for my my PayPal, because we had, we found out the super chats take YouTube takes 30% of the whatever is donated there. And so somebody was like, "Oi, I want your PayPal." And I'm like, "Yeah, cool." They sent me 140 Australian dollars. That was something to wake up to. And I want to say a very, very, very big thank you. Hopefully they don't mind me using their first name. Obviously, I always want to give people the credit that they deserve for these incredible gestures. Ross, thank you so much. I hope you and Rachel are happy. I hope you haven't had to say pivot too much. Sorry, Friends is Chelsea's absolute favorite TV show of all time. As soon as I saw it, I couldn't help myself. But that sort of shit, I'm actually going to be making a video out of everything that has happened recently, which means that my dying PC, where I was going to have to put content on hold, is now taken care of. Chell and I don't have to worry about bills for a very, very long time. I want you guys to know that all of this stuff, all of this shit, it has such a massive impact. And I want to say thank you to all the people that have been incredibly generous recently. But there'll be a video to come on all of that. So, let's get back to this. I'm thinking dropping the Breaches, the Defish, and the Card Fireblade will open up enough necessary points to get a few other things on there. Because the other thing I would like to do is have a unit of Tetras. I think at the very least I would like to have a unit, if not 2. Now, I know that the Taunar, we don't specifically need full rerolls to hit. They do become very, very, very important when we are exploding or double exploding. Being able to fish for rerolls is huge, especially on a strength 24 railgun that does 16 damage a shot. Ask Feud what happened to Morty when a Storm Surge with double exploding 6s shot into him and did 36 damage in one turn. But yeah, so drop the Ghost Keels and full send Max Piranhas. Oh, Jono, I would love to. But here's where I land on it. And let me bring up the Ghost Keels for everybody so I can fully get across to you guys just how much work these guys have put in. And I didn't have them in the double Storm Surge list, and I feel like the double Storm Surge list actually suffered for a lack of them. Let's chuck them up on full screen, and let's have a look at this. No, thank you. So, for 12 wounds, T8, 2-up armor save, which is very, very nice. Infiltrator, Lone Op, Stealth. Now, Lone Op is one of the big things. There are armies that do not do well with lone operative coaxing them out into the open, into the range of like, oh, I don't know, somebody who might be getting observed for that really has a gun that he wants to use against them. But if they stay behind that building, he's not going to be able to. Don't fall off, please. I'm in the middle of my monologue. Thank you. Thank you. Don't disturb it again. And they want to get onto that ghost kill because if they don't, I'm going to score a bunch of points and it's going to be sitting right near his deployment zone and whatever else. But if they go out, then somebody might be able to see him. Just considering that. And then on top of that, we got things like fall back and shoot, and all we lose for it is the smoke keyword. I don't really care about their weapons too much. Ghost kills for me aren't about damage. They're really not. They add in a good way, sure, like they might get some shots through, but they are additional spotters for hard angles where they can see and nobody else can. Now, yes, they don't have the marker like keyword, but I'm talking like worst case scenario here. Like your opponent has just put you in a very, very tough position. You don't want to be shooting on 4s. You want to be shooting on 3s. These guys can be an option for that. It's back pocket option, but at least it's there. The other thing is the blanking 2 instances of damage. These guys can stand out in the open and be ballsy as a mother flipper because of this and a 2-up armor save. Where, again, have them in cover. They're functionally a 1-up armor save. So, yeah. I really think that ghost kills are the way to go, though I am open to potentially dropping them if it adds to the list. Because it is 320 points, and we could just go down the route of just maximum bodies. Maximum friggin' bodies. So what do you think, chat? Is it dropping a Card Fireblade, Breacher unit, and Devilfish unit in order to fit some more stuff in? Because that would give us, what is that? 90 plus 75 puts us at 165. Then the Fireblade at 40 puts us at what? 205. It'd be saving 205 points. So... And the Ghost Kill is 320. Or both of them. I'm a little bit torn here, and I think I'm just going to play with it and see which version of it I prefer. So, the real heroes are ghosts. If that link sent helps, it's a tribute to the kill. I don't see a link. Let me open up my YouTube. Not seeing a link, Tiny. Feels like the decision here is whether we screen out and bully off mid with sheer volume of breaches or force them to push into you and punish once they're in the open and vulnerable to tuner. Yeah, the other side of it is that I win so much. And on top of that, even on a loss, I still score between 60 and 70 points. And that's because I've always got units that are doing actions and completing secondary cards very, very well. So, now we're already going to be down and we're not going to be as powerful because we don't have a crisis bomb rolling around. Because that we almost literally couldn't pay for and still have a playable game. But, I think the ghost kills are too much for me to give up. Because I've had so many games that I've won off their back. But let's play in a world where we don't go the ghost kills. Okay? Takes us down to 1670 points. Now, the next thing that we need to do is, I believe, bump the stealth suits up to ×2. So that takes us to 120. Whoop, not 1209, 120. And we've got 2 really good guiding units there. Let's look at having Tetras. ×2. They're 80 points each, so 160. Now, I believe they're 180 points each, and I haven't just made myself look like a fucking moron. Think you really need more spotting units? If you watch my video about the breaches, they actually make fantastic spotting units because they naturally hit on 3s anyway. Though Tetras for them can be good. I find that with 4 dedicated spotting units, as well as breaches, I don't tend to need any extra spotters. But, so my Tetras, yep, they're 80 points each. So 2 of those, even one of those sitting in Strat Reserve, a Piranha sitting in Strat Reserve is a bunch of stuff that can walk onto the board. Then we've got 190 points left. Do you know what I think we do? Crit Hounds times 2 for 60 points. Ethereal for 50. Exactly 2,000 points. Now, this list will score like a monster. Okay, yep, got that link. Let's chuck that in up here. And let's see what it is before I put it on the main screen.
Warfare.
All right. I don't think any of this is porn, which is good. All right, let's watch Tiny Traveler's tribute to the Ghost Kills. Oh, wait, actually, if this is going to have audio, I'll swap over to headphones. Because otherwise, you guys will get a ton of feedback through there.
You don't seem to want to accept the fact that you're dealing with an expert in guerrilla warfare. With a man who's the best. Been trained to ignore pain, ignore weather, to live off the land, to eat things and to make a billy goat puke. His job was to dispose of enemy personnel.
Oh my god, it's still going. How many Rambo movies were there? Jesus Christ. All right, that's really funny. I'm actually going to put that in the Discord. But for absolute credit, wait, Tiny, was that actually you? Did you make that? If you did, yeah, the Tau 40k subreddit, posted by Tiniest of Travelers 11 days ago. Wow. Dude, great job. Credit to Tiniest. That was actually funny as hell. Okay, let's... So, so Sleeping Pill. Before I go, why the Mantide Engram Yurichu? I love that caught on. Doesn't it, after the balanced data slate, only work on like 2 stratagems? I may have missed it while vacuuming. Oh, that's a good point. I didn't consider that. Let's have a look. It's a War Gear stratagem, so we can't use it on that. Motherfucker, we are deleting that, and we are getting back a bunch of points. Very, very good call out. I completely forgot about battle tactics stuff. Don't like that anymore. Let's get rid of it. All right. So it means that we've had 25 points open up there. I'll be honest, I don't like a world without the ghost kills. Because I look at this and like the ghost kill, there's nothing here which is like super durable to sit on distant objectives and be able to hold them. Because being able to pull your opponent apart, that is one of the best things in the goddamn game. I'm a big fan of Tau. Been editing silly videos for months now. I love it. I'm going to put that in the Discord. That was so funny. That was so funny. And then we also had, to be fair, 2 Devilfish, Breacher, and Fireblade seem to be a pretty good sweet spot for most games. Points will probably be better freed up by dropping one of them. I think I'm going to go down that route, Jono, because I found in my GT list there were other things that I needed, and 2 Breacher squads were enough to go, one up one end of the board, one up at the other, one into the middle, one to support my strong side or my weak side. I actually think that that's going to be the play. So let's drop these down to 2. And that goes to 80. Breaches becomes 2. That goes to, and my brain isn't doing maths right now, 180. And D-Fish times 2. And that goes to 150. So then we go down to 1770. Now, if I want my ghost kills, and I do want 2 of them, because 2, again, is such a sweet spot. Such a sweet spot. 320 points puts us at 2090. Now, that is a little bit of an odd breakpoint. I think the Crude Hounds go. They're OC0, and they don't really offer me anything that I'm desperately in need of. Do you know what I actually think the play is? I think the Ethereal goes bye-bye. And I think what we add instead is Tud. We get some Tud, which I believe is 20 points. Let me double check that. Enhancement. Yeah. Tud. 20 points. Now, for anybody who's not familiar with Tud, let me introduce you. Going up, going up, going up. All right, Tud, through Unity Devastation. While this model's leading a unit, each time that unit is an observer, until the end of the phase, ranged weapons equipped by models in their guided unit have lethal hits while targeting their spotted unit. You have 1 unit of breaches. Get out. With Tud, they guide for a Talnar, sending a bunch of its little guns into a Terminator squad. Lethal hits, baby. Bang. You have a second Breacher unit that you're trying to clear off, let's say, like an Armiger or a Maliceptor or, hell, a Norn Emissary, which is sitting on a central objective or an objective that you must clear off. 30 shots with lethal hits? No, more than, because you got the gun drones as well. You are going to get some play on that, baby. You are going to get some play on that. And then if you're also you're guiding the unit that's got double exploding 6s, that becomes even nastier. Even though those explodes don't become lethal hits, you're getting lethals off the 6s and also double exploding. So you pull those 6s out because they're auto wounds, and you put 2 more dice back in and go, here we go, I'm going to wound. And you're probably standing on an objective, so breach and clear means I re-roll everything. I think that is the way to go. Now, obviously, I'm not doing this in a vacuum. So, I think that this list has got some serious legs. Not as good as my GT list. That is always at the forefront of this entire conversation. I'm just going to put Reptar down on my chair so he lives like a king. But we have a few good tech pieces. We have good scoring in the Piranhas, the Stealth Suits, the Breaches, and the D-Fish. We have our big damage unit up the back. And then we've got a pair of Tetras to give them rerolls, ghost kills to annoy the crap out of them, Piranhas and ghost kills to potentially put up and be able to charge them and block them in their deployment zone. I don't know. I feel like we may have done the list. Gwot Glob, hello from the other side of the world. Been watching a few of your videos, very informative and helpful. I have a question. As a veteran of the competitive scene, what advice would you give to new Tau? Oh boy, that is a big topic. I'm the sort of person that if I was able to, I could sit for 6 hours on stream talking nonstop about all of the things that you players should do, or a veteran player, or a player that's looking to better themselves, or somebody playing in different metas, or blah, 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 blah. And the best thing about it is I am somebody who also doesn't need oxygen to be able to do that sort of stuff. So even if the world ends, I'll be here talking about Tau. Now, if I were to give you my biggest tips, biggest tips. This isn't everything, but we'll start you off. We'll start you off. First off, understand that movement phase is your most important phase. Everybody thinks it's shooting. It's not. Movement phase is the absolute king phase that if you want to become a good Tau player, you will master. You need to understand your terrain rules and how they interact to understand the things that you can get away with and the things that you can't. Moving your suits and your vehicles and everything properly. Also understanding how your opponent's supposed to do it. So if you've got people that don't understand and are getting like an extra 2 or 3 inches here and there with their movement or rotations or whatever else, you could police that a little bit and not give people unfair advantages. And also movement to understand your pre-measurement of what is the actual threat range of these World Eaters or these Assault Intercessors or whatever else, so they don't tie you up. Movement phase is absolute king. If you can master the movement phase, everything else will fall into place. The second thing is really to, when you're getting into it, especially going from casual to competitive, don't lose sight of the fact that this is still a game for fun. Play units that you find are fun. Now, I have found a way, because I get a lot of enjoyment out of playing strong things or winning games or expressing skill even with shit units. But do not lose sight of the fact that at the end of the day, we're just blowing off steam playing with toy soldiers because, well, let's face it, work fucking sucks and the world's going to shit. So do not lose sight of the fact that all of this should be fun for you. And if you're not having fun, make sure that you don't burn yourself out unnecessarily. There are too many people that get into the competitive scene thinking that everything's about winning. And if I'm not a tournament master, then I'm nothing and I'm letting my team down, and they put a bunch of pressure on themselves and then they burn out or they end up cheating at an event because they have gotten themselves into this mindset that it has to be all about it, but it's not. Really, you will get the most out of this game if, even at the highest competitive level, you walk away from a game being like, I had a great game with that opponent. He had a great game against me. Even if it's not, I've made a friend, I have just made a connection in my competitive scene and I've developed a good name for myself. That would be the 2 biggest things that I would focus on. Everything else will come in time. Get rep games in, be hard on yourself, but be fair to yourself. Make mistakes, fuck up, do everything you need to learn, but make sure that you are always having fun. So, Chris M, please do, no, Jono, please do that. Okay, me talking for 16 hours on stream would be very, very bad. I'd lose my voice, and then you guys would lose me for like 4 days. So, I have to protect me against myself. Almost all of my games are casual, but they are a direct influence on those videos I edit and toss into the Tau subreddit. That's awesome, man. That's really awesome. All right, so, how's everybody feeling? We might be done. Now, there is a world where I want to look at potentially dropping the ghost skills and playing the other one, but I genuinely feel like this is stronger. So I break up my stuff. My point of contact, durable trading units, and annoyances, ghost kills, and piranhas. Can I actually drag that down to where it's there? No. Okay. Piranhas and ghost kills. My scoring units, stealth suits, breaches, devilfish, and weirdly Tetras. Tetras will still score you points. My enhancements for a little bit of extra, Exemplar of the Cao Yun and Card of Fireblade. Card of Fireblade. Exemplar of the Cao Yun and Tud on both of the Fireblades. Perfect. One of the Fireblades, I guess, will be the Warlord. Probably make it probably the Tud guy, because Exemplar of the Cao Yun, he's always going to want to jump out. I don't just want to give away my Warlord for free. Although it doesn't interact with a ton of stuff anymore. And then damage. Tau Na, breaches, ghost skills. Done. Now, one thing I will say, how I'm going to be playing it. No problem, Got. Happy to. And if anybody wants to get involved with a wonderful Tau community that's talking about lists and events and whatever else, keep up with me and my competitive team and all the stuff that we're doing, because we have a channel there that all of the guys can look at. Consider jumping into the Patreon or the YouTube membership. You get instant access to the Discord, and even if you're not a patron, even if you only do it for 1 month, you are in the Discord for life. I don't remove people unless, they start doing shitty things, but that hasn't happened yet, so I'm really, really happy about that. Let's actually go into Tabletop Simulator, and I'm going to talk about how I am going to look at deploying this guy and playing games, and how I'm going to get in my own head based on, like, the Storm Surges, I think were a good precursor to playing this, because doing well with that list, I think, has a lot of translatable skills to this model. Even though the Double Storm Surge I would probably class as being stronger, because you've got 2 separate threats with big guns for basically the same points. So let's go in here, single player, and I will just, do I want to go back into the last one that I had? Was that... I think that game is gone. So let's just go workshop, FTC map base. And let's have a look at this. So, red player, confirm for gaming. Let's load Battleforge, map pack, 40k, maps and tools, maps. Which one looks good? Now, I don't want to put something down that's at least semi-competitive, so it's kind of representative of what I'll be playing on. Suburban Ruins, that actually looks kind of close to what Dice Arcade can sometimes run. Now, you know what? We go on Tau. Let's go over on Tau City. Or would Abandon Tau City be better? Oh no, sorry. We don't click that one. We go additive load, because then it actually puts it in the center for us. All right. And then let's set our mission and deployment zones. Let's go Crucible, because I've been getting that way too much lately. Oh, wait, is that objective height? Yeah, it is. Okay, so let's bring that up. Yep, that's good. And deployment height, let's take that down just a little bit, because you are way too tall. Okay, it's not going down at all. That's fine. So if I'm looking at it, let's say I'm on red side. Now, this is probably less terrain than we would have. Actually, no, it's kind of similar to how Dice Arcade want to run their stuff. Obviously not the big, gaudy tower buildings in the center. But let's get out. I don't think I saved a town. So I may have to do that at some point. Oh, no, I did. Oh, I'm a Giga Chad. Let's go. All right, so let's have a look at this one. Honestly, it will depend on the army that I'm going into, but let's go through extreme shooting threat, mid shooting threat, low shooting threat. Now, our Taunar doesn't have fallback and shoot. If he shoots out of combat, he does it at -1 to hit. So, extreme shooting threat, I may actually look at placing him like back here. Reason being is that getting an angle on him is going to be tough, but again, terrain is also going to dictate, because you can't have your base overhanging the side of the board. So, there might be the place, but if I were on this board, this is way too set up for fire angles. This is way too set up. I can shoot down both of these lanes now. The only thing that we can't guarantee is that we go first, so it might even be worthwhile chucking him back here so that we have the range advantage. So shooting to him on any of these things, they need to at least have 30-inch guns from their deployment zone. And they're not going to want to put something out in the open here, because the Taunar will just pick it up straight away. Against low shooting threats, I'm 100% chucking him here, so he can just move straight up onto objectives, and that OC-10 can hold stuff and just shoot whatever goes on. Now, one thing I have to keep track of is that Overwatch is very, very low on my priority list. For this particular list anyway. Because Titanics are not allowed to do it anymore. Which friggin' sucks. But anyway, he's going to be there. Now, high melee threat, I probably would have him out in the open, but I'd probably have him just sort of like back here pre-measuring so that, yep, cool, in 2 turns I can get onto this objective. Because I want to make it so even if he deploys on the line, even with his fastest stuff, he probably is getting like a 12-inch charge or maybe not even being able to get into me. So I think positioning with him is going to be very important and understanding the tools that my opponent has. So, outside that, I guess, we won't have buildings where I can put him on top and you can't overhang your base from any of them. So he is bound to the ground. That is probably the biggest concern I think that I have. My Chassos, my Shazla, my Gwaila, if any non-Tau players are in here, is making sure that he has room to be able to touch down. Because if I can't deploy him, I can't play him. So, and I'll probably talk with my opponents about that as well. Given how many great people there are in the New South Wales circuit, I don't think I'm going to have at least too many opponents are going to be like, nah, play it where it lies, bro. But anyway. I've used Overwatch for the entire time it could. People hated seeing the Towner on the table. Yes, I'd like to average 34 shots in your turn. And even better, Overwatch has changed now where you don't actually have to be the unit getting charged. You can do it in the movement phase. Everybody knows that. But in the charge phase, you don't have to be the charged target. You just have to be a unit that can see the charging unit when it starts or ends a charge move. Though it was cleared up, and I don't know why they put this wording in there, in the out-of-phase rules commentary with Big Guns Never Tire, that counts for things like Overwatch and whatever. So Big Guns Never Tire can never be used to Overwatch outside of combat or into combat because it's all in the same rule. But if this unit can see another unit when they start their charge move, even if they're charging somebody in here, he can absolutely Overwatch them. Well, if he wasn't a Titanic, let's say this is like a Riptide or something, or pre-nerf to Titanics not being able to Overwatch. Yeah, that shit's disgustingly strong. Disgustingly strong. So, that's pretty much my thoughts, Chassos. Let's go to the thing. I am going to get some practice games in. I have to get some games in against my new competitive team members anyway. I do essentially assessments when I'm playing anybody that I haven't played in the circuit, but I've recruited them onto the team. So I'm going to take this list against a few of them and just kind of see how they react. But I think that this has got some legs. I am not scared about how I'm going to score the game. There is a chance that I run out of units quicker, and that'll be something that I need to change my mentality on because I'm investing 800 points just here. So keeping him alive, but not underusing him, not being so conservative that the Taunar never gets value is going to be the big thing that I need to consider. And there is also the thing that, actually I don't think Crisis will ever work with the Taunar. Like, you look at what we've got, I've barely got enough to say that I've got a good game plan for scoring and move blocking and whatever else. I don't think there's a world where Crisis can exist on the table. And to the guy who was calling out for the Skyrays, I would love to plug Skyrays in. I actually would. I think they are a great, great, great unit. But with our damage bucket filled so high with the points that we've invested in this guy, I think I would be giving up my scoring plan and going into another list similar to the Alexis on Fire list that I've got posted for my Chassos. That's the patron tier, by the way. I know I call everybody in videos Chassos, but it's actually a thing. That one was all Crisis, and that one was basically table your opponent or you lose. Really high skill floor, really high skill ceiling. It was a stressful list to play despite how powerful it was, because I knew that if dice went hard against me or if I fucked up, mispositioned, misused terrain, forgot about an ability that my opponent had or whatever, it was very, very highly punishable. So, yeah, I think this list is going to be a similar thing. But now that you guys have seen it, now that you guys have been able to observe the insanity for anybody who's coming to us towards the end of this stream, everything is available immediately as a VOD on my YouTube channel. Make sure that you subscribe and do the internet things there. Actually, Chassos, we are 10 fucking subs away from 2,000. I don't know what I'm going to do, but we'll do something special for 2,000 subs on YouTube. But we're just outside of a year doing this. and we've already almost hit 2,000 subscribers. I am insanely happy with that. If you haven't already, do the internet things and, like and share and tell people to click the sub button. And if you want to hit these streams when they first come up, make sure you hit the bell stuff. Or don't. I'm not your dad. But we are so very close, and I would love to hit that milestone. I am going to keep having a think about this list, and I think I will, if I'm planning on doing any changes, I might actually jump in a stream again, because it's also great for my mind to be able to, chat to other human beings. There's sometimes where doing things in a vacuum can sometimes be counterproductive, because you don't, look at there were 2 great mistakes that got picked up by other people. Stupid one, which was putting in too many Fireblades, which I would have caught, and the app would have caught it, which is fine. But then, what was our other one? There was another one. I'll have to go back and revisit our footage, which we changed over. But anyway, I really hope that this is the list that's going to not just be a meme, because that's the other thing. I like making memes work, and I think this has the ability to do it. I'm actually really keen to get some reps on the game. I love that I have one of these. Again, Chris O'Neill, you're a friggin' Giga Chad, man. I wouldn't have been able to play the double Storm Surge list without him. I wouldn't have a Taunar without him. Because, let me be clear, he didn't ask me for anything for this. He just wasn't going to get any use out of it, so he's like, hey, use it. It's yours. There's a bunch of cosmetic damage on it. Bits missing out of the things, which Chell and I have a plan on, and we're actually going to do a video series where we go through while we're painting it and decorating it and whatever, and show you guys this guy's going to look fucking incredible. But Chris couldn't have done any of this without you, dude. I'm so proud that you're on my team. He was kind of the guy that gave me the kick in the ass to start the team in the first place. But yeah. When all you got left is Shadow Sun and Ghost Kill, but a full unit of guard is holding the objective. Oh boy, we get another one. We get another one. All right, strap in, everybody. We get another Tiniest Traveler thing. So let's go here. Now I am still going to double check it, just in case he's sending me some porn. Because I was talking last about in the last stream, I made a joke about people having sex on Farseers. And yeah, apparently that's turned into a bit of a meme. I'm actually going to have one of my cocktails, because the dude commented in the video, he's like, that actually sounds like the name of a cocktail. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to do that at my GT. Because we had a bunch of themed cocktails. All right, I think this looks clear. Let's strap in and let's go. Now, hang on. I couldn't see any of the sound going on that one. What sound thing are you going through? Let's bring that over. That's why. So you guys wouldn't have been able to hear the music on the last one. I'm going to get this sorted right fucking now. So, apologies everybody. Professional streamer here. I'm not. I'm really not. I'm so starting out. Let's go a new one. Call it music. And it is going to track that. Okay. Now, let's try this again. Okay, that was pretty fucking great. I won't go through doing the whole thing because I'm basically playing an entire Matrix scene. I don't know if I'll get fucking like demonetized or struck for that. But Tiny, if you do a ton of this stuff, I would love to put that shit in my videos. I would actually love to have that as like memes and shit in the video. There's my business email in the description on YouTube. Email me. I'd love to work with you on this shit. That'd be funny as fuck. Anyway, so yeah, again, Tinies the Travelers on Reddit. Go and check him out. That's funny as fuck. I'm kind of keen to see where it goes. How many turns did this go for? I knew the tank shock was coming. I knew the tank shock was coming. All right, I'm going to get those up in the Discord. That's funny as fuck. I'm GWatt. Thank you so much for the sub on YouTube. Appreciate it. And if anybody's sitting on Twitch, don't forget that you have a Twitch Prime that you can use every single month for free. And even if you don't use it on me, don't forget, Naj Bolgi is a great channel to use your Twitch subscription on. He streams all of our raid progress at Woolly Mammoth. So go and check him out. I made subbing to Naj a little bit of a meme within the raid team, and I kind of love it. So actually, you know what? I'm going to get his thing because we're devolving now. The list is basically built. So at the moment, I'm kind of just hanging. I was actually thinking about jumping over. Of course you can. Yeah. I was thinking about... Oh, okay. I am really glad I didn't play too much of that because YouTube just sent a warning. We've detected video on your stream belonging to someone else. Your stream may be temporarily blocked. Okay. It's all right. Surely that was fair use. Surely that was fair use. Anyway, we're devolving now, but I'll get that and I'll put it in the comments. But that is basically everything that we're talking about with running a Taunar. I think I've expressed quite a few of the things that I need to consider with him. Obviously, we've got to go through the painting and everything else, so I get my 10 points for painted every single game. But yeah, Taunar. Actually, I probably should put on this Taunar with rail cannon 2x tri-axis. And I think that's what we'll be working with. There's a lot of pieces of this that shouldn't really surprise anybody. But unfortunately, that's the way our book is right now. There are some things that are really, really good. And if I want to go full meme, you could look at what is the actual cost of... Because I've seen somebody running Sunshark bombers, which is funny as fuck. I actually have a list for that. I called it Blood in the Water because there's basically everything around like sharks and shit from like units that we have. And that is a Giga Chad move. I actually would love to run that list as well. Unfortunately, there's only so many events. It's 150 points for a Sunshark bomber. The biggest thing that I want to run next is a Tiger Shark, but I have to work on actually getting that out. Sorry, I got your stream copyright struck. That's some BS. Mate, no, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. This is the process we will go through learning about this more because at the end of the day, I mean, I don't know that there's any content creator that I actually watch that hasn't had like a warning or has at least been copyright struck. But yeah, we'll work out what we're doing. I don't know. I feel like that is going under fair use. But oh my god, it started again. Stop. But yeah, I guess I don't know. We'll learn as we go. But that's fine. Don't feel bad. So that's our Taunar list. Let me know what you think. If you're watching this as a VOD, hello. Thank you for getting to this point. And leave me a comment if you think you would do anything differently. There are some odd ones that I would like to look at. And you know what? Just for everybody that's been hanging out this long, for anybody who's watching the VOD to get to this point, I'm going to show you my Blood in the Water. I'm going to show you my Blood in the Water. Lists. There we go. All right, here we go. So, Let's go in a little bit closer so you guys can see it. We've gone for Triple Fireblade, Commander Farsight, Shadow Sun, and Darkstrider, which... Can I have 6 characters? I don't know that I can. I'm actually going to just chuck in Onvar, Commander... Oh, no, wait. You can't have Onvar and Commander Farsight, so that's going to blank it anyway. But Darkstrider, let's get rid of Onvar so he doesn't cock that up. Let's go duplicate you, and that is... No, you can. That's 6 characters right there, and it's happy. Okay, cool. I didn't fuck up writing it. Let's go. The Fireblade, I probably will get rid of the Puretide Engram Mantide Engram Neurochip. Thank you. And just go with our TUDs. This will be like, what, 1995. Triple Fireblade, Farsight, Shadow Sun, Darkstrider. 3 Breaches, which you'd expect. Then Triple Devilfish. No surprises there. Pathfinder team for Darkstrider to go into. Triple Piranha. Double Skyray. 2 Stealth Suits. 2 Sunshark Bombers. 2 Tetras. I think this list will be an absolute meme. I know I can win games with it. But it's a question of whether the Sunsharks do enough for 300 points. I think they'll be able to. I think that this list would go okay. I really want to play around with Darkstrider because we have at the moment a lot of stuff with like the new Marines book, the Inceptors coming up within 3. We can also see in the Necrons book, if they start running monoliths, that you can bring in stuff super close using one of their abilities. I think that might actually drive Darkstrider up in terms of his usability, even just as a solo piece. That's something that Hayden Walduck was talking to me about. He was a big fan of solo Darkstrider. So yeah, I don't know. There might be some changes that I make to this, but I think overall this one is good. It doesn't have the ghost kills in it, but that's because you're rocking like a bunch of extra things that you might normally not ever have, and you've got enough of a parking lot already. But yeah, there's definitely some stuff that I can change about it, but that's my blood in the water. Obviously, I don't own a Tiger Shark, so I can't use 1 or 2 of those, which I would love to, but I can't. And also, Tiger Sharks are a little bit contentious because it's only WTC that allows you to bring them in and use them on turn 2, for anybody who's not familiar. Their base size is big enough that, according to GW, they can't come in and be wholly within 6 inches of the edge of the board, which also means that they are unable to come on and act in that first turn 2. So you'll bring them on, turn 2 they'll do nothing, then turn 3 they're able to fly and rotate and do all the things that they have to do. But that is our list. I am going to go and do some Bing chillin'. Don't know what yet, but it's a lazy Tuesday night, 9 o'clock here in Australia. I may even look at getting an early one. Thank you to everybody who has been hanging out with me so far. Thank you very much to all of my patrons and YouTube members who make all of my videos possible. Nobody go anywhere. You will look at them. Look at them. Look how beautiful they are. Especially my Chasso patrons, Rob, Rain, Alex, and College, Titanica, Painter. You guys are absolute chads. Thank you to everybody who supports me, keeps me going. You guys literally made sure that when my computer was dying, I am able to get another one, and the content train doesn't stop, but actually expands to being able to actually stream games with more than 10 frames. So thank you to everybody. Thank you for being here, everybody. It has been wonderful having you. Thank you to my wonderful Gwalar 4. You know why. To be announced very, very soon. But I'll catch you all in the next one.
As a new parent, there's a lot on your plate, so Panadol is here to help. Children's Panadol provides